Hey friends, welcome to the channel. If you want to know how you can use fear to achieve the things that are important to you in life, you found the right video. Los geht's! My name is Dustin and I'm an IT project manager from Germany. On this channel we create content that helps us to be more productive, to learn new things, especially languages, and to live a happier and more fulfilling life. This one is very personal for me, an important thing that I have learned over the course of my life so far. What I'm talking about is fear as an emotion for personal growth and success. I don't know when I've become consciously aware of that, but I've realized that all the things that I have achieved or obtained in life are somewhat related to that. The goal of this video is to explain how we can use fear as our best friend and ally in our quest to happiness and success in life and language learning. For that, I will first explain what fear and cognitive bias are. Then we will have a look at why fear a better motivator is than reward. After that, I will show you, based on some concrete examples, how I have used fear in my life to get where I am today. Last but not least, we will have a look at the downsides of fear and what to be aware of. Let's dive into today's topic. First of all, fear is an emotion. And some years ago I have learned from Tony Robbins that motion creates emotion. So in order to change your mental state and break negative patterns, you need to change your physiology first. You need to get moving. But what I have discovered is it also works the other way around. So for that, let's look at the official definition what fear actually is. Fear is an intensely unpleasant emotion in response to perceiving or recognizing a danger or threat. Fear causes physiological changes that may produce behavioral reactions such as mounting an aggressive response or fleeing the threat. Fear in human beings may occur in response to a certain stimulus, occurring in the present or in anticipation or expectation of a future threat perceived as a risk to oneself. So there is a stimulus first that brings up the emotion fear, which then leads into a fight or flight behavior. So it leads to some kind of motion, and that's what the video is about. How can we use that in order to move forward to a better life and to reach our goals? So now, what is a cognitive bias? The official definition is, a cognitive bias is a systematic pattern of deviation from norm or rationality in judgment. That means that we humans are not Vulcan. We are not rational by default, but highly emotional driven by biases that we have developed over the course of the evolution of mankind in order to survive. There's much more to the topic, but let's just keep it like it is for now. And of course, there are a multitude of different biases. If you are interested in more about this topic, please let me know in the comments and I will make more videos about it. I've also put in some more useful links about this topic in the description of the video. So then, why is fear a better motivator than reward? So that of course depends on the bias we are talking about. Let's talk first about loss aversion, the cognitive bias that describes why for individuals the pain of losing is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining. Losses loom larger than gains, or evolutionary speaking, organisms that treat threats more urgent than opportunities have a higher chance to survive and thus reproduce. Like our ancestors. If they suspected that their tiger is probably a better choice to go a different way than to be careless and go where a tiger might be. The people that got killed because they were careless couldn't reproduce themselves, and thus it's in our DNA to have this bias in order to live. Nowadays the world is a bit different, but we still got that bias, which we can also use in our favor. And the next one is the fear what other people think of us, or the fear of rejection. We all know that emotion and nobody's completely free of it. We care about what other people think of us, at least within the tribe of people we surround ourselves. And this is not bad in general, because it means that we are not psychopaths. And evolutionary, it also makes total sense, because in order to survive we humans need to stick together, and thus it has been very important that you could be a valuable part of the tribe. The more value you could give to the tribe and the higher your reputation, the higher the chance of your survival and that you could spread your DNA. Then of course the fear to stay where you are and the fear of consequences. If you are unhappy in life, with your relationship, at work, or probably because you are learning a language but you're just not getting into speaking it, if that feeling becomes very strong, it can motivate you to change. So then, how did I use those fears and biases in order to get closer to the life that I want? Loss aversion. So I personally think that if we don't get better in something, then we decline. Life in general and getting older leads to decay. But we can slow it down and even grow beyond that. For example, sports. I have the fear of gaining weight and getting unfit. Of losing the freedom to do what I want to do if I'm not in a good shape to enjoy life. I don't want to look in the mirror and not be content with myself. This way, I never stop going to the gym or care about what I eat and in which quantity I eat it. And now it has become part of my personality. Or in my job, I'm always working on learning new stuff and to get better. I'm looking for books and courses that I can do. I know that my job is not granted and I always want to make sure that I can give value to the company. And I fear that if I don't stay relevant with my knowledge and skills, I might not be able to find a new job and get stuck. Who has options has the leverage to negotiate. And of course, the same applies to language learning. I fear that I might lose them, which is why I practice them every day. I have made them a part of my life sustainably. It's not that it's a chore for me, but it drives me forward. Then, of course, the fear what other people think. The fear of rejection. You can use that one by telling people what you want to do and then also stick to it. Talkers talk and walkers walk. I want people to think of me as someone who follows through with what he says that he does. I told people that I would start a YouTube channel and that I would upload one video every week in 2022. And so I did. I have so far uploaded really one video every week. And even though it was hard, I wouldn't regret it. Probably in 2023 I might adapt the cadence, but for now I will stick to it until I have achieved my goal. Further, I told anyone on this channel which languages I'm currently learning, and I won't let anyone down. I will follow through with it. For example, I said in this video here that I will become fluent in Dutch. And I will be. And the same, for example, with learning French. So when I've told my girlfriend that I want to become fluent and just learn it from home without spending really time in the country, she told me, yeah, I don't know if that's feasible. And that really made me want to prove her wrong and to get decent in French. And that fear was bigger than the fear of what other people might think of me when I'm making mistakes in conversations. And the fear to stay where we are has done a lot for me. And I'm so grateful that it has struck me multiple times in my life. My first job, when I finished my apprenticeship, I feared that I must stay there until my retirement, each day in the same office. Like many others before me, a job that I didn't like, with colleagues that I didn't like either. My way out of this was to study on the side while working full-time and to get my bachelor degree in informatics and economics. This then again gave me options. To find the job that I really like and to become a project manager. Or the fear, for example, that I would have to worry for money all my life. It helped me to endure my studies and to continuously work on increasing my career capital. This then led to the leverage and the possibility to earn enough in order to not worry about it anymore on a daily basis. Or the fear that if I would have stayed in my first job, I wouldn't get to speaking English fluently or to travel the world, made me finding a more attractive and interesting job, which then gave me the opportunity to grow new skills and to get proficient in English. But fear can also be crippling, so be careful. First of all, the impostor syndrome means that we don't feel good enough and that we fear being exposed as a fraud. We don't believe external feedback, but we have constantly that doubt. So be aware of that and don't let it dictate your actions. You are not a fraud, because if you would be, then you wouldn't consciously think about it. But this topic is for sure big enough for another video. So if you are interested, please let me know in the comments as well. And the fear of uncertainty, when you don't know what could happen and this completely paralyzes you. But I can show you a bad decision is better than no decision. This is especially bad if you are in a situation which is not that bad and you can kind of endure it, but you are not happy at all. The whole life is uncertain. So don't be afraid of making decisions. Write down what's the worst that could happen and you will see that it's not as bad as you think. Then the loss aversion. That goes into the same direction as the one before. Like maybe you got a job, for example, with awesome benefits and great salary, but you are not happy at all. Or you fear losing a language that you have started to learn, but it might have been the wrong language and it just doesn't give you anything. Then of course the fear of what other people think of us, the fear of rejection. This can also lead us into inaction and not doing what is truly important to us. For example, if it hinders us to speak in our target language. It It's a double-edged sword that we should use consciously to grow. 3 things that we can do in order to mitigate that fear are: first, become aware of that fear when it unconsciously cripples us by meditating. Meditation is so powerful because it allows us to see our thoughts, to see our emotions, and to not let them overcome us and dictate our actions. Then second, do exercises where you are confronted with rejection. Like, for example, approach someone on the street you find attractive and get rejected. You will see that it won't kill you. Treat it as a success instead. And third, reframe it. Define what is a success for yourself before doing it. The same applies to language sessions at italki, for example. Set the bar low. For example, if I say my introduction script, it has been already a success. If I show up and say the script, it's great. Don't mock yourself because you didn't know a word or something. That feeling of fear before a session is no fear, that's excitement. Seeing it like that will change it into something positive for you. Please let me know in the comments if you also use fear to get closer to your goals and how you actually do it. And if you're interested in the playlist of the Principles of Life and Language Learning, I will link it here. Or I also made a video about how to get into speaking. And then last but not least, if you found the video useful, please leave me a like and a subscription to the channel. And don't miss anything going forward, click on the notification bell. Thank you very much for watching and see you the next time.